fort. Non, je t'écoute pas. Excuse-moi.
Sur le direct là?
Oui. Justement, tu sais que moi j'ai pas de retour, je vois pas ce que quand c'est pour l'escale c'est très chiant, je sais pas quand vous filmez, ce que vous filmez, où vous êtes.
Là, bah, il n'y a pas de son, mais de fait, il n'y a pas de son. On part à pile.
On part à pile, il manque Manon.
T'as ouvert le son là? Vous avez le son d'ouvert?
Quand il ne répond pas, c'est qu'il dit non, c'est
Rebonjour.
Hello again. We continue with the International Digital Art Market this afternoon. For all English speakers, you have the translated into English version on YouTube. This afternoon we will have a lot of speakers, 5 of which will be from Quebec, artists and cultural stakeholders, among which the organization Electra, who created the concept of International Digital Art Market. First of all, I would like you to welcome Nicola Dupont. Nicola Dupont is an author-director within the association Tabasco Video, which develops participative video projects. He specializes in interactive narrations. He co-directed several web documentaries and interactive projects. Moreover, he leads the association towards new forms of media and writing around the storytelling of territories by initiating innovative projects, such as the multimedia newspaper Fudge 2 or the design of an interactive creation software. Hello, everyone. It's quite strange to be here in quite an empty room and to talk to all of you, but I understand that there is a live stream of all of this presentation. So I was presenting work. I would like to talk to you about the workshop that we have organized in June here in Aix-en-Provence in the design school in collaboration with Chronique. We had students from the first year of master's degree in design. I would like to thank the team of Chronique for having allowed me to work on it and for having supported us, as well as for allowing me to talk about this. Especially now, during these very difficult times, we were able to organize this workshop, and all the people who participated in it had to do it in very special conditions. The aim of this workshop that lasted 10 days was to produce a prototype of a digital companion in aligned to 6 different places and on the theme of eternity. I'm Nicola Dupont and I'm working for Marché Association. We are especially doing participative video projects, meaning video projects in which inhabitants of different territories can participate as well. This is what we are doing with our association because our aim is to do interactive narrations. I'm working with Nicolas Brignol, who is a web developer, and Annabelle Roux, who is the interface designer. We are collaborating to create an online software called Frig. This is the software that allows us to create a digital narration around the territory. This is something that also can use different web applications. This is interactive and a game and with an important gamification. It allows us to create different web applications that will allow us to walk around with a cell phone and headphones and explore the territory through interactive maps, discover videos, quizzes, etc. So it will be very much interactive and like a game, but it will also allow us to narrate different stories. This is the tool that we have used during this workshop that I'm talking about, and the aim of this workshop for Chronique was also to underline the value of all the digital tools and to create synergies with universities and higher education world, but also to test these tools for communication and all the innovative tools. It was interesting to make the students work with new interfaces and in the innovative digital space to adopt different innovative approaches and also to make them work on the field around different cultural projects. So we had 11 students, 3 groups of students. We had also 3 people who did the follow-up of all of these students. And we had 3 prototypes of digital tools that have been made during this workshop. This is what I will be talking to you about. I will skip some slides to be even to go faster, but we actually wanted them to explore the possibilities and the limits of all the tools that they had. At the same time, we wanted them to discover all the stakes and the universe of the Chronique. We also wanted for the students to be able to discover the city of Aix as well as all the exhibition that we had there. Then we also had questionnaires on the field to allow them to test and to imagine different tools that they could find there and on which they could work with the team of Chronique, who was always here to interact with them. So here we can see we have 3 groups. They had exactly the same settings and the same tools that they were given to them. Another project was the project Chronos, where we were targeting quite a young audience. Here I will skip a couple of slides. So the aim was here to allow the young audience to connect to the digital art and to create a journey, a cultural journey for children and millennials. We had a couple of areas that we have selected. And finally, we created this game-like journey, narrative journey, like a game that would target the neophyte audience. This is the design that basically looks like a game for the wide audience. I'm showing here the screenshots because this was available on the smartphone. So we have imagined this character by the name of Chronos, who is a prisoner in the temporary loop, in the loop of the time loop. And we have to free this character through this game because this character has a watch that allows him to travel the time. The principle of the game is very easy. You always have questions, and those questions allow you to discover some information about a certain place. These are the elements of the legacy around this exhibition. And at the end of the experience, the character is freed and the adventure is finished. So congratulations, everyone. As I can tell you, the graphics here are quite simple because we're targeting mostly kids here. The second project that I wanted to talk to you about, and I still have 5 minutes, this is called Chroniques Aixoises, the companion of an interactive visit. They have identified several issues. They wanted to make the arts, digital arts and culture, very much accessible through the game, and they wanted to underline the value of all of this. So the targeted audience here was quite wider. We actually made it mostly, we adapted it to to the widest audience possible because we wanted for it to be very practical. Tests were made with the users, and the users were people who didn't really want to get into stories and narratives. They just were looking for information. So we were trying to create a real companion for the exhibitions and discovery of the artwork, and at the same time the tool that would suggest where to go and eat between the expos, the exhibitions, etc. So just to show you the result of this web app that has been developed, it's pretty much the same logic. We're using the gamification here because we want to define the types of the users, just to define whether this person is alone or with somebody else, how much time they have, can they do a longer journey or a smaller journey, and then we can discover different places. We will also have different quizzes about exhibitions and different places that will be discovered, and this is all around the elements of the legacy. The narrative dimension here is lighter because we wanted to create it to make it very practical. And the last project I would like to talk to you about, it's called Cyber Chronics. This is a strong narration, and this is a game as well with a live show that has been organized between Aix-en-Provence and Marseille. The speciality of this game is that we were targeting a very specific audience, the audience that look like these people, which was very easy to use in terms of narration. So they wanted to create an immersive experience with enigmas and different games. I will show you. Well, here we are in, the context is the following. We are in 2100, and the artificial intelligence is in power at 95%. So they wanted to basically destroy the humanity, and we must save humanity. What is very interesting here, and I will skip a couple of slides here as well. The very interesting is the universe, the transmedia universe that they have created, because they have also put the flyers everywhere in posters and flyers in Aix-en-Provence and Marseille, like real flyers, in order to introduce the targeted audience into the imagined universe. And the aim here is that once we would find all the hints that were left throughout the exhibition, we will finally have the necessary elements to access the resistance party. And this is also a collaborative thing, because for this last party, they had to be very numerous in order to be able to deactivate the artificial intelligence. So it was impossible to play alone. It had to be a community approach. They had to make a lot of people gather during this party and make them all subsequently discover all the exhibitions that were offered in Aix-en-Provence and Marseille. I will show you a couple of screenshots here. It's quite it's quite a strict design. However, it's all around, it's all focused on the artificial intelligence that they have imagined. You can also find the information about different places here. And as I said, it was all like a gamification, around gamification, a lot of like a treasure hunt with a lot of hints, etc. But it was very coherent to the narrative universe, to the game-like universe. We have quizzes here, quizzes about the exhibitions. We also can access all the memories of this character who is the leader of the resistance. Her name is Sarah, and at the end we will have all the time parts of GPS coordinates that we have to write down somewhere. And once we have the complete coordinates GPS, we can access this party. So in conclusion, we have noticed that it was a very rich experience for students because they were able to explore places and spaces, but at the same time it was quite frustrating because they wanted for it to be not just prototypes but something that would be used by the audience of Chronique and like a real product, not just a prototype. But this is something that allows us to experiment even further. I think for Chronique, it was also very interesting to see what they could offer as a narrative devices, narrative means to accompany people in their discovery of different places. And what is also interesting is to see that there's a lot of things that we can imagine here to attract the audience that is probably not really sensitive to digital arts. But we could really interest them in all of this anyway and interest them by the exhibitions as well. So I think that I will just stop here. Otherwise, you can see here the website of this software. This is accessible to everyone and you can probably develop your own projects starting from that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nicola. Right now we would like to talk to Véronique Bellan. Véronique Bellan was born in Quebec. She has been living in France in 2010, where she graduated from the Studio National des Arts Contemporains Le Fresnoy. She also holds a master's in visual and media arts from the Université du Québec at Montreal. Her practice, which gravitates between media arts and literature, focuses on elusive phenomena on a human scale in a constant attempt to explore what seems empty to reveal its content. Through various protocols of transcoding, which convoke both the world of art and science, her works seek to create contact between the perceptible and the imperceptible. Her works are also exhibited during the Biennale Chronique. So, hello everyone. I would like to talk to you first of all of Untitled Telegraph, which is my last work that is available right now and can be seen at the Biennale. I would like to thank all the producers that has helped me in this work. This is the project that I have created quite a long time ago, and this is something that interests me for a while because I have discovered that when we are talking about ghosts, it's kind of a numbers for all of us. And for a long time, I was thinking, even in this logic, that the pandemics were somehow caused by me as well. So I was working with different associations and producers, with the association AY Sainte-Usine. They were co-producers, and the Art Center of Quebec was also the co-producer. They have somehow initiated this project because they have suggested a partnership that would be oriented in to create something new between France and Quebec. This project was also supported by a department of artistic center of Nouvelle-Aquitaine. And it was also linked to the scientific side, which is why there was a lot of people who were also interested in supporting it. It was an interactive project, which is why the studios in Montreal worked with us. The mechanism of the telegraph, the making of the antenna and of the whole device were done in a factory at Les Gougets. And all the deep learning and software side, it was done in Aix-en-Provence, right here. So for the last couple of years, I had to travel a lot from one place to another. I will show you a small video because it's mostly an audio experience. It's just to give you the idea of what you can feel when you explore this installation. I will be speaking at the same time. So this is the installation. This is a receptor of a telegraph with a needle, and it reacts to everything that happens in the immediate environment. The project consists in using the artificial intelligence to listen to the sound of the electromagnetic waves present in the space. So these are captors, sensors. These are sensors that will be sensing something that we cannot hear as humans. These are the electromagnetic waves. So the artificial intelligence is a software to recognize the words, and it will be looking and listening to these electromagnetic waves, trying to find a word or a sentence or something like that. And the viewer is an interactive participant because they will be coming there and sitting by the device, and the viewer has a possibility to interact with the artwork by putting their hands right here, because this is also a sensor that allows the viewer to become a sort of antenna and to isolate several frequencies, several sound frequencies where most activity can be observed. And this is quite surprising because when we put our hands on this device, the frequencies are modulated. We hear something that appears like a voice, even though we cannot really understand the conversations. So the viewer being there at the installation helps the machine to have a more precise listening and potentially to discover several messages that would come from a hypothetic, invisible universe that surrounds us. Of course, a lot of people here in the installation have experimented with it during the professional visits. And when people around it have their cell phones with them, it creates additional electromagnetic interference, and the buzz is there. So the machine tries to find some sense in all of this. And when the machine is working, the bulb on the table is on. And the wheel of the telegraph is in action. So it's very interesting because it shows the letters, and we can see all these letters that have been found by the artificial intelligence and the sentence that have been found. It is also printed here on the paper. Sometimes it just says something that cannot be understood, but the artificial intelligence is also learning, and the process is improving all the time. So with time, it will get better and better. And every time you have this kind of message that is printed on paper, and it also is followed with all the log of the machine, everything that has happened in the network. And the logics of this machine appear here. So all of this appears in the log that is also printed. This log is bigger and bigger with each passing day. This is after a couple of weeks of the exhibition. And little by little, this log also takes more and more space, invades the space. In screen printing, you have this look of the installation that is kind of futuristic. It reminds a little bit the phonograph, the electricity. We have the table here and the chair for the viewer to come and sit down and to simulate all these electromagnetic sensors. All of this is a reference to the text of Philippe Baudouin that I have read in 2015. Philippe Baudouin was talking about the equipment created at the end of life of Thomas Edison because he was trying to develop what he called a necrophone, a machine that would allow him to communicate to with the dead. So from this text, this idea came to me, so I decided to make this reference to the research done by Edison at the end of his life. Of course, my aim is not to talk to the dead directly, but to put the viewer into these very special listening conditions, to attract the attention of the viewer to everything, to things that normally escape them, to show the phenomena that are here, that exist, that are all around us, like the waves, the Wi-Fi, etc. But we are unconscious of all of them. So to make the viewer listen to it, to make the viewer participate and touch with their hands the installation as well, and to make the viewer face themselves while they're waiting for this machine to talk to them. So as I have already shown, there is this chair, the chair that is right here, as if a ghost could possibly sit down right here as well to talk to the viewer. So to put the viewer face to face to their own ghosts somehow. That was the idea behind this project. This is the installation, which is also part of all the range of different artwork that I have created in my artistic practice, because as we have already said, my artistic practice is always focused on something that escapes us, on something that exists right next to us, but that we cannot see or hear or feel for some reason. And I'm trying to create devices that would reveal these things that escape us, that are around us. I'm showing a couple of pictures right here, and I will show you a short video without sound to illustrate all of this. This is something that I have started in 2012 at the end of Frera. This is major to ground control. This is a generator of text. This is also, this works with a radio signal coming from the cosmos, from the space. And in the installation, we have this accumulation of archives and of paper, because everything is printed. All the messages that are coming from space are printed and written down by the machine. There is also this synthetic voice that reads aloud all of these messages. This is just to show you a couple of pictures. So this was something that I have created in 2012. In 2014, I have created an interactive version of this very same artwork, much more focused on the individual, with a meteorite that the viewer has to touch in order to get this message from space that will be dedicated, that will be especially emitted for this particular viewer. This is the generator de Ralph. The generator of short narrations, and these narrations are generated by the software and are written here on paper, but this paper is thermally activated, which is why as it cools down, the letters disappear and the paper becomes white once again. And we can put it back into the machine and get new words appear here. 2 years later, I have created As We Are Blind. So we're not talking about the writing of the text, but much more of the audio dimension of the installation. We are talking here about the mechanical piano, and there is a sensor. So the viewer has to put their hand on the sensor. There is an analysis of all the physiological data of this particular viewer, like the weight, the temperature, etc., etc. It's all analyzed by a software that transforms all this data into musical into music, and this music is played by this piano automatically, as if there were ghosts there playing music for this particular viewer, and the music is every time different. So for this installation, as we're blind, the viewer is also being taken, a picture of the viewer is being taken at the very end, and we give them also the picture of their aura. And on this photograph that is given to the viewer, we also have a code that allows them to go and download online the music that was generated by the software from the touch of their hand. So I was speaking very fast about this work because I was told that I don't have a lot of time. But I would like to thank the Chronique for your resilience, because it's really a pleasure for me to be here and to see people live, to meet people, to be able to really talk to people. Because even though I work a lot with ideas of ghosts, I didn't want my exhibitions to be for ghosts. So it's a pleasure to see you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Véronique. And we are really very, very happy to be able to show your artwork to the professionals who came this time. We will go on with Rémi Lahrn. Rémi Lahrn is a former dancer and documentary producer. He has always tried to understand the specific language of every art before committing to immersion. He created in 2017 Tamanoir Immersive Studio, based at Le 104 in Paris, which produces storytelling experiences combining the living arts and new technologies for cultural institutions like the National Opera of Paris, 104 Paris, France TV, etc. Rémi Lahrn, it's up to you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Okay, just figure out how it works. So, hello, everyone. My name is Rémi Lahrn. I will be talking about my studio, Tamanoir Immersive Studio. I am one of the founders of this studio. I think that there is a small technical problem here. Just a second, please.
J'en profite, je meuble, j'aime bien ça. J'en profite pour remercier tous les intervenants qui ont fait le déplacement, parce que ça a été...
All the speakers who are present here, because I understand that it was very complicated to organize this, because we are having a sanitary crisis right now, and you see that right now it's quite easier for us to master the online environment than the real life environment. So now it works. Eh bien. So probably I will start by thanking the Chronique Festival. This is the very first time that we are participating here, and I think that it's very interesting first to talk a little bit about the studio and myself, so that you would know where we come from. So Tamanoir Immersive Studio is a studio creating immersive experiences. There are a lot of definitions, and most of them are kind of meaningless, so I think that I will just give you my own version of what is immersion, and I will talk about it through my own journey. This is what we're trying to do with my studio. You will understand it. So this is me when I was 7. At 7, as a lot of kids, I loved to play Zorro. But at the same time, I loved to imagine myself in space, in Star Wars, as well as I loved Indiana Jones. I was watching a lot of movies or reading books, but all the time I wanted to extend the story that I was reading or watching in order to leave it, not just to read it or just to watch it, but to leave it somehow as well, to to get into the story somehow, to have this imaginary friends and things like that. So every time when I'm thinking about the immersion, I'm imagining this child of 7. So basically, this is what represents what immersion represents for me, is like living a fictitious story in reality to make it become reality through gestures, words, actions. This is me once again. I'm sorry, this is kind of self-centered, but here I was 18 and I was a dancer in a dance company, contemporary dance company. And I think that people who've been on stage already, they can understand, they can relate to this feeling that I had on stage when there's silence and the audience is waiting for the performance. So it feels like another world, like the time that stops and you're just living by the present moment. And in this present moment, all the metaphysical laws disappear. So this is also a very immersive experience to be on stage. And this passion for being on stage, I actually shared with a co-founder and a friend with who I'm working on the studio, because this person also works in the theater. So we are basically at the crossroads of all these different forms of art. So we finally found out that the immersion is not exactly art, but it's rather a language that all forms of art can use. So what we wanted to do is to open the stage to all the audiences so that every single viewer would be able to become a dancer or an actor at any moment. So what do we do in the Tamanoir Immersive Studio? We create these immersive experiences, narrative experiences, interactive experiences. These experiences use the new technologies like virtual reality, audio immersion, augmented reality, because we want to magnify, to give new horizons and new possibilities to the arts like dance or theater. We are doing all of this for institutions like Opéra National, National Opera of Paris, like 104 Paris, like France TV. Different experiences that we have created up to now are right here, so they're quite different because we're working a little bit as a lab. We are always trying to come up with new interactions. How can we make the viewer to get even more immersed in our story? For example, through an audio experience. There will be a bag that the viewer will open, and every single object that will be there will make them remember something or will create some memories. There is also the second project, the Kotopia, which questions and allows the viewer to interact with their own body. So this relation is very interesting here. Nicola Dupont and me, we decided to go back on stage and take back on stage Kalmisi Jane and create this device that would function between the theater and the virtual reality. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about this device around another project that is called A City of Foxes that uses the very same device. This is something that was written by an Indian writer, an Indian author, Mirika Meghi. This is something between Le Petit Prince and some other very well-known works. And this is virtual reality. So when we enter this virtual reality, we see this fox in front of us. And the fox will be asking us very philosophical questions that are coming from works of Arthur Arnaud, who is a sociologue. He worked on the questions that would allow two individuals to discover each other the best. For example, what is your best memory? If you had to change something in your education, what would it have been? And things like that. And these different questions are asked by this fox. So it is asking you all these questions. And little by little, you start understanding what is the universe where this fox lives, because he is the very last survivor of a population that has been invaded and extinguished. So you are basically the witness of this end of the world and of the population. And you are the one who will be passing on this story. So it's clearly an experience that talks about oppression. But we actually found out that there was a theater experience that was created in India by a company that is kind of similar. And what they found out is that there was a fundamental problem in this work. It was the social standards. It was around the social standards that the viewer applied to the actors. And because of these social standards, they weren't able to interact completely with the artists, which is why that Indian company decided to create masks for the actors. And this mask right here is the virtual reality. So what does it mean, this experience? So basically you put this virtual reality mask, and you go into this reality. You see this fox in front of you, and the fox is reacting to your slightest gesture or word. And all of this is basically done by an actor who is right here with you, and they are wearing the motion capture suit. And they can change the setting for you. And at the same time, they have all the tools, all the staging tools that do not exist in reality. So they can make something appear or disappear. So this experience and this device represent very well what we are trying to do here. We would like to give a new potential to the theater and to the dance. This experience also has won a prize of New Image Festival in Mostra. It participated in Mostra of Venice and other festivals. It was also presented in Black Theater in New York and the American Center for Art and Culture in 2021. It will be shown. So this is something that allows us to share our vision despite the complicated time period in which we are right now. So what we're trying to do is to tell the stories so that the viewer would be able to leave these stories, and to allow this viewer also to become an actor or a dancer. We wanted to expand the stage, to make it even wider, even bigger, and to create a world for everyone on stage. Thank you so much to all of you. And if you would like to discuss further about everything that I have just shown you, please reach out to me. Here's my contact information. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rémi. And now I would like you to welcome Samuel Lahrn, graduated in administration and attracted by artistic creation for many years and driven by the desire to share it, Samuel Lahrn committed himself very early on the promotion of the encounters between artists and audience. After contributing to the creation of the Pont Supérieur, he continued his professional career in the Sciences de Musique network, where he contributed to development of MAPL Association, before taking over the management of Cordonnerie in Romans-sur-Isère. In 2020, Samuel Lahrn joined the electric team organizer of the festival Maintenant in Rennes area, and the desire to extend and strengthen the work committed to contemporary creation at the crossroads of arts, music, and technology. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, and thank you, Chronique, for having organized these professional meetings, because this is very precious, especially at the current time. I would like to talk to you about the Association Electronica, which is very well known for organizing the festival Maintenant in Rennes area. And I also would like to talk to you about different activities that we have. Our mission is to participate in the development of digital cultures and artistic practices, innovative artistic practices. We are disseminating the artwork. We are helping the artistic creation. We are doing the promotion for the audience, and we also contribute to the structure of a certain ecosystem, of creating a certain ecosystem. Just to show you a couple of numbers, we have approximately 300 actions that we organize every single year. We have approximately 50,000 people that are touched and affected somehow by our interactions. We also have a lot of volunteers who work with us. As for the dissemination of the works of art, we are doing the promotion and the production of different events, but also we are disseminating different artworks by different artists. Of course, the festival Maintenant is for us a very important cornerstone. This is the festival that is organized in October, and last October it was the 26th edition, and we actually managed to do it in extremis. So this edition actually took place, and around this festival was created the association. It is living and evolving every single year. Here's a couple of pictures that show the projects and the projects of the festival. The festival lasts approximately 10 days, and these days are dedicated to the contemporary artistic creation, pluridisciplinary artistic creation. We're also talking about digital arts here because this is part of the projects that we have right now. Sometimes we have very low-tech offers and works, but sometimes they are high-tech as well. We also organize conferences and meetings. We call it ambivalence for various audiences. This is just to explain to you a little bit the projects that we are presenting. We are doing different projects in public spaces. I'm sorry, it's impossible to read here. This is Fred Pinel and Leonid Jacquet, the projects in public spaces that were done. Just a couple of pictures to show them. I will go really fast here. This is just to illustrate what I was saying. We are also doing installations. This is the installation by Joignet de Mercier, Northern Lights by Vincent Leroy. And we also want for the audience to live through very sensitive original experiences and unique experiences as well. So these are the different propositions, the different things that we have done. Here is another project that we had in the pool, which is also quite a memorable moment. This was our festival in 2012. I was also talking about the conferences and the meetings that we organized starting from 2020. These meetings are done in partnership with our colleagues and friends from Oblique in Caen and Stereolux in Nantes. So all of these stakeholders are helping our festival. Interstices in Cannes and people in Nantes, and all of them are organizing conferences and meetings to explore all the topics that are related to the digital. We are organizing at least 3 encounters per year. We have been doing it for 3 years in 3 different places. And all the time we are talking about the digital world. This is the picture from the last year. As I was telling you, electronica, and often me, as it is perceived, it's something that allows the artists to disseminate their work. We are one of the most active structures in Brittany in this field. We have a catalog of projects and meetings that we are supporting. Today we have different performances and installations, 13 installations and performances, but also we have 33 workshops of artistic practices and digital practices, because we are very much known for all of these interactions. We are working with everyone from the youngest age and to the oldest age. This is part of our commitment. This is another example. This is the infinite drawing of Elie Enfants or Grand Games, a approximately 3,000 plastic pieces that the audience can assemble. This is how they create a collaborative artwork. To find all of our projects, you can visit our website that you see right here. Another important aspect of our work is also the support of the creation, of the professional creation and professional artists. This is part of our historical activity. So we're working with the artists to help them, to support creation, and to support creative innovation. So the creation has an important place in our association. We're also doing the calls for projects for all the students of art schools. And we're, of course, supporting multiple projects like this one, Eoton, that was created by between Kala and France. It's a collaborative project, and we have supported it. Another important point about the creations and works that we will support in 2021, we have 3 important projects. Pulse, which is a cinematic installation by Tristan Menez. We have Instabilities, which is a performance between art and science by Tristan Menez and Benjamin Le Baron. And we also have the Unrelated to God performance and sculpture by Apollo Noir. Here you have a couple of pictures just to show you a little bit Pulse, the first project. The idea is to create the sculptures, the water sculptures, through vibration and by using the sound and the light. Unfortunately, this picture is not very high resolution, but this is also a little bit but this still, it gives you the idea of this installation, what it will look like when it will be open to the audience. Instabilities, this is a performance, a live performance by Tristan Menez and Benjamin Le Baron, who is the electronic musician. They have been in residence in Rennes, so you have the latest pictures of this residence. This is while they're creating. We see Tristan, who is manipulating the fluids to create the picture, and Benjamin Le Baron creates music. So this is just to show you a little bit what it looks like. And the very last project, Unrelated to God, as I was telling you, Apollo Noir, who is writing electronic music, and the videist Thomas Pons are working together. They're questioning their relationship to God through this project that has 3 aims. First of all is live performance, second of all is exhibition, and thirdly, this is the book that will be published around this project. Right now, we are at the very first stage of the creation of this project, and next month, this project will be welcomed by Subsistance in Lyon, and these are a couple of pictures that will show you what it would look like. Of course, we are very open to all the different projects, either your projects or some other projects, whatever ideas you have for the festival, etc. Please do not hesitate to contact us through our website. I can guarantee you that we always reply. So wishing you a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Merci.
Thank you. The next speaker is Eugene Pongo. Eugene Pongo graduated in Administration and Cultural Economics in Paris and Buenos Aires. Ludivine first worked for the production of the Philharmonie de Paris touring exhibitions, then as administrative and financial manager at the Fondation Cartier for contemporary art. Then she joined 104 Paris team to handle the production and administration of Nemo Biennale of Digital Arts. She also teaches exhibition administration in the master's degree in cultural and digital economics at the University Paris 1 Panthéon-Sorbonne. Ludivine, it's up to you. Hello, everyone. Of course, I will start by thanking all the team of Chroniques for the welcome and for having organized these professional meetings that are very good for all of us. Today I would like to talk to you about our Biennale of Digital Arts. This is the cousin of Chroniques. We are a little bit farther north in l'Île-de-France. So it is called NEMO. This is the International Biennale of Digital Arts. NEMO is a pluridisciplinary event dedicated to digital arts, but it's also dedicated to the live shows and to the theaters. We're using the latest technologies. We are also presenting new projects for art and science. Our aim is to represent 7 creations all over France, all over the French territory, for the audience as wide as possible. We have a lot of partners in terms of venue. We also have new collaborators, different art centers, museums, galleries, associated galleries, private galleries, public space, all kind of spaces. Starting from July 1st in Paris, we have a special space just for us, and we are part of the teams of 104, the center that is in Paris. So the questions that we're working on are what the sciences and technologies can do for us, for the artistic universe, and what are also the thoughts around the digital arts and cultures, the consequences of our relationship with the world, of the everyday life and the future. These are the questions we're interested in. The history of NEMO is right here. Soon we will be 20-year-old. The very first years of existence of this festival, it was an annual festival around pictures. Then little by little, we started becoming a biennale. Starting from 2015, we became a biennale. We had a trilogy dedicated to our relationship with technology and machines. We had prosopopée that suggested us to explore different objects when they were no longer useful. And we found out that sometimes it was dangerous, sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was just useless. Le Fait du Hasard in 2017 allowed the artists to explore serendipity, accident, and generativity. In 2019, we went even farther because we were talking about the disappearance of mankind through new technology. It was somehow the archaeology of the digital world, and it was presented in 104 Paris, presenting this world that had no man and only the machines. Just to talk to you about this previous edition that happened from October 2019 to February 2020, we had 59 partner venues in 35 cities of Île-de-France. Among the partners, we had Philharmonie of Paris, la Maison des Arts de Créteil, la Maison de Musique de Nanterre, but also the Austerlitz train station, Charlot train station, and a lot of others. It allowed us to showcase the work of 337 artists. We organized 90 events and 16 exhibitions. And in total, we had over 108,000 people of audience. So it started on October 9th. The next expo will be from October 9th, 2021 to January 9th, 2022. We will have a lot of performances, shows, exhibitions around the following topics. Exploring the way sciences and technologies allow us to reveal what is imperceptible. In order to create this program, first of all, we understood that a lot of artists are interested by scientific phenomena, nuclear, chemical, astrophysical phenomena, but also societal phenomena, economical phenomena. They're using all of it. And the second consideration relating art to science is to try and objectivize whatever is visible. We tried to make our audience see what is imperceptible and to have a slightly different approach to the world around us. During this next Biennale, we will be able to talk about, for instance, a city made by different digital elements or electronic elements, or to see how a rabbit will materialize the work of a lot of employees of an IT company. We will be able to discover a new shape of jellyfish made by the DNA of an artist. And this is Fabien Léostic, who has presented his work yesterday. Or you will also be able to visit different political crimes or war crimes through the new technologies. And finally, you will also be able to see how to reconstitute faces from the cigarettes, the rest of the cigarettes that we found in the street. So just a couple of logistical points for this next Biennale. As I have already told you, it will last a little bit less than the previous edition. It will be 4 months and a half. But we will have a lot of international participation in Paris. A lot of international centers will be present in Paris. This is a way for us to introduce the international dimension to this Biennale. We are working with the Brussels Cultural Center, Swiss Cultural Center, Canadian Cultural Center, but also the Japanese Maison in Paris. We will have a lot of representation for art and science, especially in Saclay, because among our collaborators we also have a lot of different institutions and organizations from higher education, etc. We will have a lot of centers like Paris-Saclay Research Center, or from the University Paris-Saclay, or also the Department of Art and Science of the Superior National School of Art. And to top it all, in December, we will be talking about the living art with the new technologies. It will happen in 104 and other venues that we have in Île-de-France. All of this will allow us to see how dance and theater and living live shows are also alimented by new technologies. This year, 2020, wasn't really very fruitful for finding new artists, etc. This is why we have started the call for projects. It is all centered around 2 sentences that coincide to the phases of our project in April and October 2020. It allowed us to receive 1,025 presentations of different artists from 51 countries. So it was an important achievement for all of us. But also the Biennale, it's very important for us to help artists to create something new. During the Biennale, Nemo is also showing all of these projects all around in all the places. Approximately 80 projects are here in Île-de-France, but also around approximately 30 projects are co-produced between 2020 and 2021. We are doing this in order to be able to finance some projects before the Biennale and the year of the Biennale. As I have also said, we are doing the follow-up for some projects for the dissemination. of this project because we are part of a network, and we have a network, regional, national, and international network, where we can show our projects. We have, of course, among our partners, HACNUM, that you all know very well. This is a national network. We also have Exoplanet Terre, which is a very active network with a very strong identity. This network includes different structures, the structures that I have mentioned a couple of minutes ago, like ONS, La Chaire et Sciences, Except Polytechnique, and a lot of other stakeholders. We are working with all of them, and we are working with them for this edition of 2021. And also we have this network STARTS, which is a European network, and Nemo is part of this network. This is part of the program Sustainability Science. So see you on October 9th, 2021 in 104 Paris and in Ile-de-France. Thank you so much for your attention. And thank you so much for having organized these professional meetings. Thank you, Ludivine. To conclude this part, we will be connecting with Quebec. To start, we will be talking to Alain Thibault. Alain Thibault is a curator and artistic director in the field of digital art, electronic music, and sound art. He is also the founder of two major events in Montreal, Electra and the International Digital Art Biennale. He is also an electronic music composer. His work has been disseminated in Quebec and internationally. Electra is an international contemporary digital art organization based in Montreal, in Quebec, dedicated to presenting works created at the intersections of contemporary art and new technologies. Founded in 1999, the Electra Festival is its major annual event, featuring unique international digital art performances. Since 2012, Electra also produces the International Digital Art Biennale, focusing on exhibitions, new media installations, and public art. On the international stage, Electra takes on the role of the ambassador of the contemporary digital art by disseminating the practices of both emerging and established artists. I also would like to add that the international digital art markets that we're having right here, it comes from the Electra Festival, and this is something that exists starting from 2012. And now I would like to give the floor to Alain. Hello, everyone. I'm Alain Thibault from the festival Electra. I will share my screen with you.
Voilà.
Here we go.
Donc, 2020 fait une année.
2020 is a complicated year. Sorry, I have a technical problem right here. Give me a second.
Donc 2020.
So as I was saying, the year 2020.
2020 fait une année plutôt comme pour nous tous qui a perturbé.
Was a year that has disturbed most of our activities. Nevertheless, we were able to organize this fifth Biennale of Digital Arts with Shija Ponkori as a special guest. This Biennale, we were not able to do it. However, we have had a Korean concert with a person who has become an artistic director in Seoul. She was our partner. So just as most of the countries on this planet, we were affected by these pandemics, and we were able to present the exhibitions and the studio. We have organized these exhibitions this year, and we also did the metamorphosis as part of our activities. I will show you just a couple of slides from this very first expo that we have organized. You can see on the main screen This is the studio of Mathieu Gouvernam. This is a very famous French actress represented as a contemporary art, and I will also show you a short video that illustrates Metamorphosis.
그 메타모르포시스 변신, 어떤 변이, 변태, 변화의 주체, 이것이 제 작품의 어떻게 보면 가장 근본적으로 큰 주제이기도 해요. 여러 설화들이 그러니까 변화하는 것들의 주체로서 그것이 아마 메타모르포시스가 갖고 있는 어떤 의미가 아닐까 생각합니다.
This work is looking at and constantly reminding the viewer that the
Ça, c'est
screen
le travail qui rappelle à chaque fois le public que l'écran est plat, parce qu'à chaque fois, il y a cette modification, cette mutation, les illusions qui apparaissent ici. À chaque fois, on a l'impression de profondeur et puis après de l'écran plat. So this was the extract of our promotional video of this exhibition, and of course, we had to take into account all the sanitary restrictions for the physical presence of all the artists in Seoul, but also to create a version that could be used through the internet. An interactive version that would also showcase the artwork of the artists. This exhibition allowed us to start the process of developing a virtual expo concept. And I would like to show you a short video illustrating this. This is the very first 3D experience that we have created. The idea was to recreate the architecture of the venue of the exhibition. And of course, respecting the artists, place the artworks of by these artists inside of this place. So I will just show you really quickly. This is the idea of what was created in 3D, was we can see inside this center in Seoul. So this is like to show you really quickly. We had the access to all the documents for each artwork. So for us, it was really the very first step, because the idea was to really use to the fullest our presence on the internet. And right after that, we have also created this cultural project that you see right here. So first of all, we are talking about the 2D venue, exhibition venue. This is the case for most of the museums, and this is something that I will show you really quickly what it looks like. This is the page of Electra right here, and the project is right here, Metamorphosis. And you have also the access to different pictures of this expo. Google Arts is preparing a series of exhibitions that will include approximately 40 different institutions from all over the world, and we will be part of it, etc. So now I will go back to my keynote. We have had an important opening to do an exhibition in October in Arsenal in Montreal. And we decided to basically take all these artworks and do this exhibition with the idea of physically presenting the artwork of different artists. We were able to recreate important artwork from Japanese artists. Movies were present here. Nu Yang, the Chinese artist. This is a Korean team with this famous machine. Michel Dupont with his famous machine that recreates sand castles. This is also the interactive part that was very important for us, because people didn't have to touch any interface. Amanda Gun, Philippe Rondeau, and right here I would like to show you a small video from the visit that I was able to do that shows you the second 3D experience that we have recreated. This is also something that you can see in your browser. It was important for us to make it available this way so that as many people as possible would have the access to this exhibition. So we wanted to avoid the need to download an app. The difficulty here was to show simultaneously 15 different videos that are part of the exhibition.
Et puis je vais revenir là-dessus.
And then I will go back right here to show you really quickly. So you can basically walk through this exhibition. It's very smooth. Of course, for all the ethnical questions and copyright questions, we could only present short parts of each artwork. These were approximately the videos of 30 seconds or so not the entire artwork. Then we also have had an opportunity to create another live exhibition. This time, Herman Prungen from Montreal had the screens for himself. This was an interesting creation with an incorporation of ICP. And the two big screens were taken by Herman Kongen. And we have also left the two previously exhibited artworks. And this is to show you the promotional video of this exhibition.
It was quite unexpected for me how receptive people were to being approached during the initial lockdown from a distance.
Exploring that boundary and upon the gap between the different things.
가까이 있는 사람에 대한 이야기가 아니라 멀리 있는 사람들과도 굉장히 긴밀하게 연결되어 있는 이야기를 보여드리려고 했습니다.
Because everything is connected, I think we have to take a more humble position with the other forms of art.
기술과 과학이 융합하는 현상들이 요즘에 많이 이루어지고 있는데 어떤 지식들의 어떤 통합이라고 생각합니다.
I'm trying my best to use collective memories of humanity to understand this technology and eventually remember and learn our future.
현대자동차는 아트가 가지고 있는 인간성에 대한 새로운 질문들에 주목합니다. 특히 아트 앤 테크놀로지의 결합을 통해서 새로운 비전을 제시하고 앞으로의 인간의 삶은 어떻게 달라질까를 고민합니다.
Metamorphosis is one way to demonstrate that the resilience of artists is a model for all of us.
Métamorphose, c'est la manière de démontrer que la résilience des artistes, c'est un exemple pour nous tous. So this exhibition will be here until the end of March. And of course, we have recreated this expo as well in 3D.
Is presented in Seoul at the Hyundai Motor Studio from December 20th, 20.
À partir du mois de décembre de l'année 2020, cette deuxième édition des Métamorphoses est disponible virtuellement. C'est la version 3D virtuelle de cette exposition qui a lieu à Séoul dans les studios de Hyundai. This is all in real time. So we need the page to charge, to load, and once it's loaded,
Are as easily accessible as possible to everyone. Hence, our choice to be able to visit these exhibitions.
il est important pour Electra de rendre ces expositions virtuelles disponibles pour tout le monde. C'est pour ça que l'on utilise le moteur de recherche de l'ordinateur et non pas le téléchargement d'une application spécifique pour pouvoir visiter ces expositions. So this was the very first video of a commented visit. These were much more technical comments. Nous présentons aussi les extraits des vidéos qui sont à l'exposition. And starting from this, we were very much focused on this idea to create, I wouldn't say a company, but a business that would allow us to recreate the exhibitions in 3D museums as well. And our aim in 2021 is to really have this very first version of the virtual museum that will be completely digital. Where we will have 2 to 3 expos and the artwork that will be presented. So I will show you the promotional video, the demo reel of this initiative. Imaginez votre musée, votre galerie, votre exposition accessible à la planète entière. Cela devient très important actuellement d'être visible dans ce système global, dans ce système mondial numérique. Electra a de l'expertise et de la sensibilité dans la reproduction réaliste 3D des expositions dans le milieu virtuel. C'est accessible à travers l'utilisation des moteurs de recherche tout simplement et les visiteurs peuvent vraiment se balader pour découvrir l'exposition à leur propre tempo. Ils peuvent aussi avoir de la documentation relative aux artistes. Et dans le temps, ce musée virtuel va devenir une place de socialisation où l'art rencontre le public. Les musées virtuels 3D vont devenir un outil très important pour la promotion et pour le développement de fréquentation. Nous vous offrons une possibilité de numériser vos espaces et de reproduire tout cela, et ce, à l'aide de nos curateurs. Nous proposons aussi les solutions pour la monétisation, pour la rentabilisation de vos activités artistiques dans ce marché d'art. Le musée virtuel va étendre votre réputation dans le monde entier tout en promouvant les connaissances et l'éducation. S'il vous plaît, visitez nos expositions pour voir par vous-même notre expérience dans ce domaine. Electra, musée virtuel.
Et voilà.
So that's it. Thank you.
Merci Alain.
Thank you, Alain. Thank you for this very interesting and full presentation on virtual exhibitions by Electra and by the Biennale. We hope that we will be still able to visit some exhibitions physically in the upcoming years. And right now I would like to welcome Charlene Daly. Through her practice, Charlene Daly proposes reflections on the perception of reality, especially on the redefinition of boundaries between bodies and landscapes. Using the qualities of video, she aims to soften the gaze, to make it evolve beyond the surface that holds it. Her work has been presented at MoCA Toronto, at Festival MUTEC in Montreal, at Noviembre Electronico in Buenos Aires, and Les Abattoirs of Toulouse. Now we have the connection with Charlene. Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Daly, and I'm an artist, Franco-Canadian artist. I'm in Paris, and I would like to share my screen with you.
Je suis impliquée dans la communauté des arts numériques.
I'm participating in the digital art community in Montreal. I'm working with this artistic center, and my practice is between the video, the installations, the performances, and the writing. Through my different projects, I am offering different imaginary worlds. I am very much inspired by radical softness, meaning the submersive potential of empathy, by the feminist theories and also by the thoughts of Danaoi, about the limits of our bodies and the inhuman things. So we are redefining the boundaries of bodies and between bodies and landscape. The empathy acts here as a very important force that urges us to recognize ourselves in the others. The textures and shapes related to fluidity are very much present in my works. The transparency and the mirrors as well. I will be talking about some of my recent projects, starting by Fossil Possible and the video that I have made in 2019. This is something that I have already presented in the Contemporary Art Museum in Tokyo. As a poetic science fiction, this project showcases a very intimate implication between the exterior corporate body experience and all of our other experiences. I have used the synthesis imagery and photography techniques in order to show this dissolution of one's self. Please have a look at a couple of videos. I remember a special trace, the motif. Isolation in the desert. It was imprinted in the sand.
Dissimulant la lumière à l'horizon. Ces chemins sinueux formaient un labyrinthe étrangement familier. La sécheresse de ce monde faisait grandir l'espoir d'une source. On dit qu'il existe encore des espaces d'eau douce, là, dans les entrailles de la terre. Chaque fois que je m'enfonce dans cette architecture incertaine, une question persiste. Ma perception me donne-t-elle accès au réel? De quelle réalité parle-t-on? C'est comme l'intuition soudaine d'être en relation avec Voilà, donc ça vous donne un peu une idée de l'atmosphère.
So this is something that shows you approximately the atmosphere. Another important project.
Une œuvre vidéo l'occasion de
Sorry, I
présenter
cannot hear.
à la salle d'exposition de la place Lahrn à Istanbul, ou encore dans le cadre du festival Marché. Il sera bientôt présenté
This is,
aux abattoirs.
this is another work that will be soon showcased
Une œuvre qui met en scène
in a conservatoire.
dans un désert aride au sein de ce temps, je parle.
Sorry, the sound just breaks up. It's impossible to hear. It's a perspective and simple quest at the same time. The temporality of this video is quite emblematic because it shows my work and my approach. This is somehow an act of resistance.
Ralenti, réimaginer des futurs possibles. Je crois
That
que
allows us
ce
to imagine
sont
possible futures. I think that this is something that is very important for me.
avec le désert mou, un projet en collaboration avec la
This is the project in collaboration with Gabriel Acheté. Together, through the synthesis, very soft and very poetic. This is the work that is as a performance and as an installation. Our approach is basically guided by durability and slowness, because we want to present a certain space where we can forget about the notion of time. From the technical point of view, I'm using modular synthesis and things like neurofeedback, but also digital synthesis imaging. These techniques allow me to create this imaginary, smooth something that gets closer to the abstract.
propose de regarder des extraits
I
de
would
notre
like to
performance
show you an excerpt from our performance that we have presented in the Festival Muté in last September.
Récemment, dans le cadre d'une résidence.
Recently, I was an artist in residence in Dôme de la Stratosphère in Montreal. I was in a place that was somehow alike in terms of space, and we were able to create a movie that is called Minéral. And it reopens the understanding of the life to imagine the new ways of living, like biotechnological organisms and other beings like that. We're still working on this project, and we hope to be able to release it soon. We would like to develop the constellative notion throughout this project, especially if we will be able to show it as an exhibition. Thank you so much to the Chronique Biennale for having invited us, and thank you so much for your attention.
Merci Charlene.
Thank you, Charlene. We continue our interaction with Quebec. And now we will be connecting with Marie and Pierre Chaumont. Marie and Pierre Chaumont has created a team which is called Lithot. This is a team exploring innovative organizational approaches. They have joined their expertise in 2020 to further their research on visitors' participation and presentation techniques. Marie Chaumont is the founder of Speak Art, which focuses on offering free and fully paid residences for artists, and is the director of Speak Air, a funded web residency highlighting artistic process. Pierre Chaumont is an award-winning conceptual artist who has exhibited in biennale and festivals around the world. So I give the floor to them. Hello. Thank you so much for having us. I will share my screen with you.
Donc, merci à Chronique de nous recevoir.
Thank you so much to Chronique for having us. Thank you for Electra, because you have thought of us for this event. And of course, thank you for Bangkok Biennale and Artistic Center Imprimerie for their support. They have supported us with the project that I will be talking to you about. So today, my presentation is called Mom, I Missed the Exhibition, or How to Organize Without Nothing or Nobody, or Harley Davidson. So first of all, Lithot is Marie Chaumont and me. We are a team, and we are doing the research, organizational research. Why organizational research and not something else? That's very simple. We are not very knowledgeable here. So we are working on the visitor's experience and the techniques of the presentation. So in 2020, we put together our expertise in order to create this team. Our expertise for Marie, she is working in Speak Art, which is a browser for the residencies for artists. There are some residences that are free or fully paid, and they're available through this browser. At the same time, she's the director of Speak Air, which is a web-funded residency, and she loves coffee. On my side, I'm an artist, a conceptual artist without a studio, like the Mexican artists in the 90s. I'm working especially with the digital arts, with the 3D, with videos. And my work is very much inspired by the Iridian legacy in time and space and the dissociation of the systems of power. And it's always very interesting when we're talking about Derrida. Lithot, and what is Lithot and what is Bangkok Biennale? First of all, Bangkok Biennale. Bangkok Biennale is a biennale without hierarchy, because there's no curator, there's no central topic, there's no restriction. We create events in geographically different places, and there's also no funds, no financing. So basically, we create a project and we have carte blanche. Our strategy was the following. To keep it very simple, to simplify everything in the organization, to simplify everything from the visual point of view, but also to reduce the medium. Instead of using 5 or 6 different medias, we would be using only 2 of them. For example, the printing and the video. Then we started thinking about the concept and the visuals of the event, and we started thinking about how to maximize our know-how and the style. So basically, we used our individual expertise to create something like that. So it's like when someone has a certain experience, we just give them this task. So we were doing these tasks individually, and for the tasks for which we didn't have any knowledge, we were doing it together. What was interesting for us was the result and not the way of doing it. We wanted to be self-financed. Free is the best offer. This was our financial slogan. And we were not reinventing the wheel, but using the wheel to our own advantage. At the very beginning, we wanted to create the visual ourselves, and it was a total disaster. Then we started looking at what the professionals were doing, and we finally found the identity that appealed to us. But as you look at the two pictures that are on the right, the lower and the upper one, it was clear for us that none of us knew how to do that. So finally, we went back to what we knew how to do, to this type of pictures. And this is the result of our work. So this is the visual, which is extremely simple. The video and the pictures took us quite a lot of time. But these types of visual, these types of presentation were basically what we used, because even before we had the artists, even before we organized a call for projects to find some financing, etc., this is what allowed us to produce the whole exhibition just with the help of these two visual elements. Well, we cannot really say that it was done without anything, because we had this visual identity that helped us a lot, that allowed us to create some partnerships, not just partnerships with the printing company, but also some other partnerships, and we could start the financing campaign. So the basis was quite strong here. Then, of course, we have maximized the know-how, as I have already said, and also we found out that we already had multiple resources that corresponded to what we wanted to create. We had open source, we had Facebook groups that we needed for all the files. We could use Google Form to manage all of our folders and files, and of course we also had YouTube with all the tutorials that are available there. To create this exhibition, at the difference of all the other venues, we actually took a venue that would be adapted to the exhibition that we would have. For example, right here, this conference room right here, well, this is not what we have created, but this would have been a type of space that we were interested at. So we actually looked at what was available and adapted to what was available instead of deciding what we would want and then looking for that. So we found the space for the photography to take the photos. It actually allowed us to accept the audience, despite all the sanitary limitation, and it was during the time when all the galleries and artistic centers were closed. And we recreated the space in 3D. So what we have created is that we tried to maximize all the experiences that we had. This space is, for instance, this is the physical space that we have had. This is the photo studio that we had. We had it for 2 days only. Why? First of all, because the COVID-related restrictions did not allow us to have as many people as we wanted during that time. And second, the price of this space of this venue was very important, so we could not allow ourselves to rent it for longer. So this is the exhibition that can be placed inside a small car, and that you need just a couple of hours to be able to install it. To satisfy all the audience that could not come, because we had approximately 17 artists from everywhere in the world. We had Israel, Brazil, etc. So we created this 3D space. We did it through Cluster, which is the app available on the social media, on computer and phone. And this is something that is used for business meetings. So what we did is that we took this app and we used my knowledge in 3D, and with the extraordinary work from Marie, we were able to do this because at the very beginning, none of us had knowledge in Unity, etc. But Cluster had already the pre-made spaces, like this one, where we could do public presentations, etc. And also I had some experience in 3D, which allowed us to create a slightly different experience, but that would bring together people from all over the world. So we created the space in 3D, but we have also added an additional space where people could have a different experience. So we organized the movie, we showed some movies, we organized some meetings and discussions between artists. We even organized some vernissage, some openings, and it actually allowed us to increase the audience 4 to 5 times, because there was a lot of people who actually visited the expo in virtual reality, in virtual world than in physical world. We actually found out that the artists are always here, and sometimes when we don't really have 20 to 25 people to work with us, we can still let the artists make their choice and make their choice for some elements, which actually will help us. For the promotional videos, it's so much easier. Instead of including everyone, looking for the videos from everyone to create this promotional video, we just asked the artists to send to us a short message of 30 seconds. And within 1 hour, we actually did the work that would have taken us 3 to 4 days. Then the partnership for the organization, but the partnership with the audience was important for us. So the more user-friendly, easy to use it is, the more people will participate in it. To ask the access through Cluster, for example, to ask for participation was very easy. This is why a lot of people were participating. We also understood that new technologies were very important right now with this new reality, such as the COVID crisis, were very important here. And what we also wanted to underline is that these technologies are associated to their own type of experience. Very often we are trying to take a real place of exhibition, let's say, and to recreate it in 3D. And then we see that 3D creates a special experience and a special relationship to the artwork that is absolutely unique. So I think that this is something that we can really use to do something very interesting with it. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Merci, Pierre.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you so much for the panda at the end. This was fun. To conclude, with the speakers from Quebec, we would like to welcome Camille Montuel. After a bachelor's degree in philosophy and art history, as well as a master's degree in culture and communication in France, in 2015, Camille gets acquainted with the digital art world by getting involved with Le Fresno in France and Electra in Quebec. In 2016, she joins the artistic center Perte de Signal as the head of communication and mediation. She's also in charge of Kids Lab program, an activity with young audience set up by the artist-run center. She addresses digital mediation through an intuitive and artistic approach that involves audiences in a concrete way. So now we will connect with Camille.
Mon partage d'écran.
Hello, I will share my screen with you.
Alors, bonjour.
So hello everyone. Thank you so much for Electra for having invited me. Thank you so much for Koenig Biennale. My name is Camille and I am working in Perte de Signal, in the artistic center Perte de Signal, as a head of communication and mediation. I have studied in France. I have studied philosophy, history and arts. I have been working a lot with a young audience for who it's very difficult to learn something. In 2015, I started working with the digital art in Fresno in France, and also with Electra in Montreal. And since 2016, I work at the Artistic Center Père de Signal. I'm working a lot organizing workshops for kids and doing all this follow-up for the young audience. What is really interesting for me is to have this intuitive and creative approach that involves audiences in a concrete way. So I wanted to talk to you about Kids Lab today. First of all, I will introduce briefly Perte de Signal, because this is the artistic center in Montreal with the access to the digital arts. There are a lot of independent artists working in this center. We're working with technologies. It is actually supported by the Council of Arts of Quebec, and we launched in 2017 Kids Lab, which is a mini festival of digital arts for the young audience. We actually decided that digital arts are something that is already available to the young audience, because the technology is the very core of all of our activities. Every single day we have games and interactions online, manipulation with sound and pictures. So this is part of the everyday life for the young audience. At the same time, we have this will from the professionals of education and as well as from the parents to be more and more interested by all of this. Sometimes they don't have enough resources to get their kids interested and get their kids use digital technology, especially for developing their creativity. So Kids Lab offers a lot of different activities related to digital arts, and it targets children from 4 to 18-year-old. It's at the community level. We have actually seen that the digital art has a very important curative and educative potential for this young audience. It allows us to create something while promoting the new media forms, projections, picture by picture, video games, and so on. It actually gives to the young audience the means to get acquainted with the digital space and the digital tools, but also to develop their imagination. Starting from 2018, we have worked also with professional international artists from Quebec as well as from all over the world. We have created also different partnerships with different stakeholders, with the Festival Kick in Belgium, with the festival in Montreal, and also with DUPEC in Montreal. Our approach is to create a follow-up for the artists in the process of mediation, and then the artists will organize workshops and all the activities. So we are basically looking for the public agents who will be working directly with artists. In 2020, Kids Lab became virtual because we wanted to offer different ways to get involved with the digital, with the artists and mediators for all the young people from 4 to 18-year-old. So we were looking for different formulas that would allow us to adapt to the context that we had. So we actually came up with 3 different formats of these virtual workshops. The very first workshop that through demonstrative video allows to come up with something. Another workshop that allows to learn how to use different software like Audacity, etc., and also remote workshops through video conference. This was our third format. At the website kidlab.org, you can see the information about these workshops, as well as all the different documents and information that will allow you to work with different stakeholders, like parents, artists, etc. We also give the possibility to reflect on all the topics that are tackled by the workshops. For the tutorial workshops, we have created these videos in very brightly colored workshops. It actually shows how to create a small device. For example, we can build a little robot in the workshop of Natalie Apelkova. We can also create very small devices for the animation. We can also create a small synthesizer for the Mozart workshop. And this is the workshop that will be available next Thursday. For the didactical workshops, we have created these explanations, the small documents of explanation with music from a French artist, Antoine Datin, that I will introduce to you really quickly. We also have Vivarium from Jules Destandes, who allows us to play with different settings of this particular space where we have characters. And we also have another workshop, Maître Bipop, by the artist Dibatatu, that allows you to play some music and to record this short performance. There are some mixing techniques, and this is all done through Audacity. This is actually something that will be released tomorrow. We also have free Libre Mapping l'École. This is another workshop that targets the teachers, school teachers, that allow to use it allows to the teachers to use the mapping in a creative way in the classroom. So there's this page that has all sorts of resources to do the follow-up, to support and give the information, explain how to do this for the teachers. And finally, another workshop. This is created by a French artist that allows us to transform the DNA of different plants into sounds. Antoine has collaborated with a biologist and with a plant, Radwitz which is very widely used in science. So they have selected a series of genes that are very important for the survival of this plant. And together they have developed it through the nucleotides. All the different sounds were attributed to the nucleotides of this plant. So we can basically pick up the rhythm and the instrument to play this. AGTC music by Antoine Bertin. This is something that we have created in 2019. We have invited Antoine to do this workshop in this didactical format, to also add it to our website. We also have offered this workshop in a remote format, and this is something that we have also presented to the Big Bang Festival organized by the Art Center of Ontario. So thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Please do not hesitate to go and discover all of our workshops on kidslab.org and have a look at what we do. Please reach out to us if you need any additional information. Thank you.
Merci Camille.
Thank you so much, Camille. Thank you, Camille. Thank you to all the speakers that we have heard today, to all the speakers from Quebec. Thank you so much for your participation even though right now you are at the morning coffee. So this is the end of those 2 days of the International Digital Art Market. I thank you very much for your presence and for your diligence. Of course, this format is very specific and adapted to the current sanitary context. To conclude these meetings, I would like to give the floor to Marie Picard. And I also would like to say a couple of words before that. In 2020, we have been talking about resilience a lot, but beyond resilience, it's also very important to be able to get back up. And this is something that we have shown, and the whole of the cultural center has shown it. It is really important for us to show our support to all the artists that have been affected by the current crisis. So the idea for us is to create a space for encounters, for exchange, and for future collaboration around different projects. This is part of our mission. Thank you so much, Mathilde. Of course, it's very moving for us to conclude these 2 days of professional encounters. We have been waiting for it for a couple of months to be able to do these encounters. All of the International Digital Art Market and professional meetings are available right now online in French and in English, and we did the best to make it very easy for you to be able to see all the recordings. Thank you so much for all those who came here physically, who are physically present, and also for the people who were present virtually, remotely, to the speakers from Taiwan and from Quebec. We would like to thank all the Chronic team and also Céline Berthoumieux and Mathieu Vabre, who are the co-directors of this biennale and also of Second Nature. The success of these professional encounters means that resilience and cooperation are always rewarded. We also would like to thank the huge work that was done by the technical team of Capsule Works, the team of Bayan Nasser, Eliane and Thomas, and also the interpreter who allowed us to understand everything during these 2 days. I would also like to thank Kélia Conrad, Marion Just, Mathilde Nourrisson-Mousset for the huge work that they have done. And it's been several months. They're working really hard. We had to adapt and readapt once again to all the sanitary conditions. But as Céline has already said, it's always about working, doing and redoing. It's always about working. Also, I would like to thank all the team of the city of Aix-en-Provence, Estelle, Jean-Marie, Laurent. Starting from tomorrow, Chronique is expecting you online for the closing day. And in the meantime, do not hesitate to go and watch on our website the 3 chapters of the film on the works of the Biennale and its topic, which is the eternity. This is something that will be here for the future, and we would like this future to be as bright as possible. Our professional encounters are over now, but we wish to be able to meet physically very soon. And we also thank all the audience that we have had online who was with us all this time. Thank you. For all the people who are online, probably I would like to say that most of the people who are present physically are now visiting the exhibitions. So we are alone with all of you, wherever you are on this earth. There is a lot of people connected right now, right? Yes. Thank you and have a good day.